Hi there and welcome everybody. Thanks very much for joining us for today's APMG webinar in partnership with Interprom. My name's Estelle Hicks-Bennett and I'll be your host and moderator today, and I'm delighted to be joined by presenter Mart Rovers. There's not much Mart doesn't know about IT, service management, best practice, enterprise risk management and business relationships. He's had over 40 years experience and amongst his many accolades authored the book ISO IEC 20000, A Pocket Guide. He coaches business leaders and teams and always offers knowledgeable and practical advice for those wishing to increase their expertise to develop their capabilities and careers in this area, many of which commend him publicly on social media. What I love about this webinar that is Mart is sharing top tips that won't cost you a penny to enhance your understanding and ability to build on a strategic partnership with IT. So before I hand over, I'm just going to touch upon a little bit of housekeeping. We are recording this webinar. You will be on mute, but so please do use the chat option to talk to Mart throughout the webinar and let us know if you have any questions. Do give us your feedback because we want to know what you like and what you don't like so that we can give you the right content going forward. So please do share that with us. Okay, we will be following up with a recording via email. So I'm going to hand over to you now, Mart, for your webinar. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Estelle, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. But the webinar, where we're going to talk about business relationship managers, and then we're trying to encourage them to start navigating the IT organization with the help of FitSM. I'm assuming that some of you know FitSM and some of you don't, so I will definitely address both of you. So the agenda is kind of high level. Where is it? Or where is IT? Is IT actually in good shape or not? And how can we help IT? Definitely Q&A at the end. If you have questions, feel free to start chatting those. So this is the scenario that we often see, that you know, an IT organization is trying hard and is definitely you know, trying to keep up with the demand, and a demand that is only increasing and doesn't go away, doesn't go down. The pressure is on, in essence. And one of the answers that organizations are coming up with lately is to have business relationship managers on their team, part-time, full-time, to help with that demand. In essence, you know, trying to determine, so what is more important, what is not as important when we get all these demands and we need to prioritize. And the diagram that I found, the image that I found here was a new BRM, you know, as in everything is new, everything seems like a mess almost. Where do I even begin? How do I help these customers or these business partners that they still feel happy, that we still give them the attention that they deserve? But still, how do we bring a little bit of structure to the chaos? And that's what they're often being confronted with. The worst case scenario is when you're out there talking to the customer is expecting, and you make all these promises and you turn around and there's nobody to back you up. Nobody home at IT. And this is, as I said, a worst case scenario. It doesn't feel right. But even the softer version of that, where you know, we're not following quite through on our commitments because we're just simply too busy, we're overwhelmed. I have to assume that some of you already recognize a little bit of that, if not a lot of that. So how can we help these people that are out there in the trenches, making these promises, trying to help these customers that, you know, have this increased need or demand? You in IT, you don't want to be the weakest link, in essence, in this whole supply chain of services. In particular, knowing that we're in an age of a much larger dependency on IT, like they call it, the digital age, right? So if IT doesn't have the BRMs back, what can we do maybe structurally? And FitSM is going to be one of the answers, but maybe also from a roles perspective, we can look into what we can do differently going forward. If the business relationship manager is supposed to spend most of his or her time on the business side, then who's taking care of things on the IT side? Product owners, service owners is the typical answer if you follow the service management best practices. So not having service owners or not having product owners, again, you create this huge vacuum for the business relation managers, as in where do they go to? Do they have to go to the project managers? Do they have to go to the business analysts themselves? Do they have to go to the architects themselves? Do they have to go to the people that manage processes themselves? So it almost becomes undoable, as in how much time we then end up spending on the IT side compared to, hey, you were supposed to be on the business side. So this would be another takeaway, hopefully, to think in terms of who are these product owners, who are these service owners in our organization, IT organization in particular. That is actually that handoff point for the people out there with the customers, and do then take care of things internally within IT as far as what are the requirements, what are these changes that we need to make to our infrastructure, to our architectures, what are the changes we need to make to our platforms, to our applications, and so on, and maybe some changes to some processes. So they play that coordinating role almost, these service owners, as far as, okay, now that we know what the direction is, or maybe we can actually even better help with that direction, as far as how can IT be in a much better shape to be in such a provider almost, where the business partner looks at IT as in, you guys know what we're doing. You're there for us. You're there with us. Much better feeling than being overwhelmed by all these demands and wishes and desires, so to speak. So can it be structured like this? Absolutely. So to bring structure to the chaos, I already gave you one takeaway here. Think in terms of roles, responsibilities, and clear handoff points between business demands and what IT can do in response. But bringing structure, as we all know, there's an organizational aspect to it with these roles and responsibilities, but there's also a process aspect to it. A process aspect that definitely can be addressed with the help of FitSM. FitSM literally means service management that's in shape. It's fit. From chaos to structure, it says here, what FitSM introduces is structure to the, chaos is harsh, but structure in terms of what are the services that we are providing to these customers, to our business partners. Not knowing what these services are, and you can be assured that there are still many organizations out there that have no list of services that they're aware of that they provide to their business partners. Even last week, I was doing a presentation for a fairly large company with tens of thousands of employees, where the IT organization had no service catalog. They're working on it as we speak, which is fantastic. But again, there's still enough out there. So FitSM helps us with determining what are these services. FitSM helps us also with the structure around how we manage these services. It does so with the so-called service management system. It's a system approach to service management, where it in essence tells us, here are 85 things for you to consider, dear IT organization, if you want to bring some structure to the madness almost. In other words, it's a to-do list. It's a short list of things any IT organization should be doing at the very least. And there are management responsibilities, there are process responsibilities, there are responsibilities around measuring metrics, there are responsibilities around some governance, some planning. In other words, it helps you turning your IT organization around from being reactive to proactive. That's maybe another sentence here to keep in mind. Who doesn't want to be more proactive? Proactive in a way that we can actually show value going forward, because we're ahead of the curve and we know what's coming. We know what the business is having in mind, what the market is doing, what our competition is doing, what others are doing, what our vendors are doing with their solutions, and how we can benefit from it as a whole organization. a much better feeling than always being behind and in this wait and see mode and having another demand coming at you out of the blue, and as in we didn't see this one coming and who's going to do that, and there's no time for that, so what else can now be put on hold. Again, that's the feeling we want to get away from, and business relationship managers definitely should be aware of these 85 to-dos that FitSM recommends us to do from an IT organization perspective, and then maybe use this as a simple assessment tool, so to speak, to see where are the gaps. What is that we should be doing at the very least? Because you may think 85 to-dos is still a large list, a long list. Actually, it's not. Most of you have heard of ITIL, and most of you are familiar with the best practices in ITIL. ITIL is very comprehensive. It has a lot to offer as far as level of details, but it can also be overwhelming. If you start counting the best practices in just one process, then 85 is a very low number. If you multiply the number of practices in ITIL 4 is 34 practices times, can we say maybe on average 100 best practices or so? That's 3,400 right there. That's a much larger number than 85 to-dos, if you think about it, if you put it in perspective. They do go very well hand in hand, by the way, ITIL and FitSM. Definitely, if you look for the additional details, open up the ITIL practices, for example, to find more information. Speaking of other framework standards, FitSM is also a nice lead-in if you ever seek for ISO IC 20000 certification as an organization. It's a very good first step and gets you definitely more than halfway to an ISO 20000 certification. So how do we get IT in a better shape? Of course, I gave you a few pointers here: the people aspect, the organizational aspects, the cultural aspects, the feeling behind it, FitSM with the help of the service management system, the processes that it says, the 85 to-dos. But it's that mindset that gets IT in a better shape. So FitSM can help us with changing that mindset to bring a little bit of structure. And FitSM is actually a family of service management standards. They're numbered, starting with the number 0, where this is a document that basically gives us some terms and definitions. FitSM-1 is the one that has these 85 to-dos. But it goes on. It doesn't tell you just what to do. It also gives you guidance. In other words, what are these activities that we need to do? Some role guides in -3, templates, like for a template for a catalog, a template for how to put a process together, implementation guides, some steps for you to consider. But -6 is actually the one that I would recommend highly for any BRM, business relationship manager, since it's an assessment. It's a capability assessment. It's a spreadsheet that literally asks you to fill it out, and the outcome of it will give you a nice chart as far as, hey, this is an area where you're kind of weak, you may want to pay attention to. And with the help of the implementation guide, you get some guidance on what to focus on first, because if you're, let's say you're not meeting 25 of the 85 to-dos, then which one of these 25 do I take on first? Look at the implementation guides for that. If this is already piquing your interest, as in this sounds good, this seems like neat material, well, here's a website, fitsm.eu. I highly recommend you visit it, because all the things I just mentioned you can download for free. There's no charge. You don't have to sign up to become a member or anything. You just click on the link, downloads, and there it is. You can download all these documents at no charge. There's even a slide deck in it with training material, how to get trained on FitSM. It comes from ITIMO, an organization in Germany, who was chartered by the European Commission to develop these materials to help the IT organizations in general. They've done this several years ago, and FitSM has definitely gained in traction since it is this easy to comprehend to-do list, as I said, for you to start working on to get your IT organization in a better shape. Over the years, they have teamed up with APMG International to provide training courses, certification training courses, so you become certified at different levels in FitSM. So, as I said, these materials are there for you to download and start benefiting from. And as I said, I highly recommend you start with the assessment. It speaks for itself. It doesn't require a lot of knowledge to conduct the assessment. And again, the outcome can be used as a compass, the one that you saw in the very earlier slide, as in it gives you some direction as far as where are our opportunities for improvement to get us in a better shape. Because once you have these 85 taken care of, then you can clearly claim that you're in a much better shape. In other words, your processes are more mature. You have services. You speak services. You speak service management language. In other words, you're setting yourself up for an organization to become a lot more proactive, and that must be in itself that better feeling. Here's a screenshot from the assessment. There's a few tabs in this Excel spreadsheet. And I just opened up one for the process assessment. But as I said, it goes across all 85. And you can actually determine to what level you would like to mature your organization. So you could even start simple and then raise the bar while going down this path. What FitSM also comes with is a plan, do, check, act approach. In other words, it says think first before you do something, and then when you're doing something, measure as in, are we getting there? Are we better? And then is there room for improvement, the act part. And we all know there's always room for improvement. So this type of thinking that has been around for some time, as in, let's follow a structured approach to get us in a better shape. Thinking first is something where you see organizations becoming a lot more proactive, as in where is our service management plan, for example, our plan for our services, not only for our next budget year, but also for the next 3 years. As you all know, some initiatives, especially if you think in terms of these digital transformation initiatives, AI and big change and Internet of Things, and I mean, they all take time. That's not a one-year initiative. So what is our service management plan, our plan for our services for the next 3 years to get us into a position where we can do maybe a little bit more with Internet of Things or artificial intelligence? Because your services will change. And FitSM will help you with what does go into such plan. If I want to write a comprehensive plan for my services, what should it look like? So it's literally a to-do list again for you to just chip away from, and as in, how can we think in terms of services, but also services long-term? The doing part, of course, has everything to do with the work that you do, your activities. FitSM has processes for you that are more strategic, processes that are more technical, processes that are operational. That's the doing part, but the check part again, as in measure, right? As in, are we on the right track with what we do? Are we on the right track with our services? So what are these performance levels for our services, for example? And then the last one, never to be forgotten, that's the improvement portion. Any framework, any standard that we know of in IT always has this component, as in there's always room for improvement. But the bigger message here is to change the culture in your organization from reactive to proactive. That also means there's always room for improvement. As we all know, nothing will ever be perfect. So what is it that we're going to improve upon next? A culture or a mindset around continual improvement, the fancy word for that, is what gets IT in much better shape, and especially when we do this in an agile way, as we all know. That's what really gets us ahead of the curve. So from no services to services with clear ownership, I mentioned that early on, definitely one of your to-dos going forward. Moving away from, we're managing technology to, no, we're here to manage customer expectations, customer experience. What is it that our business partners want from us? What are the people that pay for our services, the customers of our customers, or the business partners of our business partners. What do they want from us? What is the market doing? What is the competition doing? What is the product roadmap of the stuff that we sell, for example? That all keeps us focused on, what we actually should be doing and what we should be good at. Along the lines, what also changes when an organization matures this way is that it moves away from a cost focus and much more to a value focus. While cost still remains important, we cannot spend endlessly. But if we spend our money wisely, that would be a better question to ask. And then we're shifting away from this cost thing and become a little more value focused. So what FitSM even provides us with is like a roadmap, as in these numbers, these documents were numbered for a reason from 0 to 6. And this is actually an ongoing effort. This is not, it stops after 6. You can continuously assess yourself and see if you're still maturing. As I said, there's always room for improvement, as in what else can be done going forward. So this is this iterative approach. You can start simple with a few improvements and then build upon it and become better and better. If you look at FitSM, it actually has Deming included in it, from plan, do, to check, and to act. So if you were wondering, so which of these documents do I use for plan, which do you use for do, check, act? Here you go. Basically, you just use them following Deming. So my suggestion to you going forward is that you go to fitsm.eu and download all these documents, and of course feel very knowledgeable all of a sudden with all that knowledge in your folders. Maybe introduce your organization as in, hey, I was just listening to this webinar and I have all these documents here from FitSM. Would you guys be interested also taking a look at it? And by the way, I'm thinking of doing an assessment here. If you're the BRM, you might take the lead here. If you're not the BRM, if you don't have business relationship managers, then maybe you're the one who says, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to, download all this, set up a meeting and say, hey guys, listen, this is something we all should look at. And I'm going to schedule a few meetings to do this assessment, FitSM assessment, to get some feelings as far as where we're at with our maturity levels from a service perspective, from a process perspective, from a roles perspective, so we get a feeling as far as what we should be doing next. If, let's say, you create some excitement after that, or let's say when you create some excitement after that, have some follow-up meetings and say, all right, we did the assessments, we identified a few gaps or opportunities for improvement. The bigger picture behind it shouldn't be so much as in, we just want to have, a top-notch incident management process or a top-notch change management process in itself. Nothing wrong with that. At the same time, let's not lose focus on the bigger picture. Not about processes only. It's about our customers, the customer experience, I should say. It's about our business partners, to be there for them when they need us, to be there for them for the next 3 years, 5 years, and still have an IT organization that is relevant, giving the rate of change that we're all going through these days. So shifting away from a technology focus, and I would dare to even say process focus, and become a lot more service focused is what should be the bigger picture behind this effort. Definitely, leverage from the IT modes with all the free information, but also leverage from information that's already out there. Business relationship managers, of course, benefit from the Business Relationship Management Institute as far as what they have to offer. APMG has a whole array of exams available, and of course, there are training providers to help you there as well. That brings me to the end of this presentation. There's a few more minutes that we have left over. I do want to offer, if you have any questions, feel free to pick my brains. Happy to set up something. I'll show you my email in a moment. So for additional information, feel free to visit these websites. and I'd say ask away. And Estelle, I'm assuming there were at least one,
Yeah,
was at least one question.
yeah, yeah. There's a few more than one, Mart. I'm pleased to say you've probably seen the chat going here. Okay. First question that we have is someone saying, is FitSM a good precursor to ITIL?
It is actually. Yes, it's a good start and an end. That's the other beauty that FitSM has. As I said, there's 85 to-dos for you. So with the assessment, you can actually also then say, I need to do these first, and which sequence. And after 85 requirements, if you meet those 85, you can say, I have a service management system in place per FitSM, but who cares what it's called? But at least I have better processes, better services. But now what's next? And then definitely you want to benefit from the breadth that ITIL has to offer with a lot more to do, so to speak. And now you can continue your journey to continuously improve, right? So you can do the continual improvement with the additional best practices that ITIL, but also ISO is offering for you.
Thank you, Mart. This one is oh, okay, I'll come back to that one. This one's asking about becoming the business relationship manager, so I'll come back to that one. But somebody says, does FitSM recognize the role of BRM and have associated responsibilities?
That's a good question. Actually, FitSM calls it CRM, Customer Relationship Management. So don't get confused. And please don't ask me why they call it, give it a different name. But there's a process for that, and there are some responsibilities around that process in essence. FitSM definitely is focused more on the operational technical side of the role of the process of business relationship management. To get it to strategic levels, I would definitely recommend to look at what the Business Relationship Management Institute has to offer. It's the bare minimum that we should be doing at the very least. That's why it's only this short list of 85 to-dos. We could come up with a list of 500 to-dos, but then you will never know where to start or finish. So it's a bare minimum. So for more information, go to the BRM Institute.
Okay, you may have sort of covered this one, Mark, but someone's saying, does FitSM go into enough detail to use this at senior level? So would you be recommending FitSM for BRMs at senior level?
It's along those same lines indeed. So for a business relationship manager to use FitSM and to notice that in IT we're not even doing the bare minimum, that in itself should send a message. That in itself should help the BRM, as in, come on, if we're not even doing this, no wonder, we're not always there, we're not in good shape. So can we do more? Absolutely. But let's do the very, very least. That's what I'm proposing. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And yeah, so someone just said, what is the best way to start looking at becoming a business relationship manager? And I have a funny feeling you might be able to help people with that as well, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. That's I would, if this is something that you're looking for, I would say the Business Relationship Management Institute offers through their training providers a free 2-hour executive brief, 2-hour presentation at no charge to get you a feeling as far as what do business relationship managers do, why do we need this. That's free on their website. There's plenty of webinars for free that you can listen to, look at. If you do have a little bit more money and you can become a member, then that's in US dollars, 195. Then you have access to everything they have to offer pretty much. It's overwhelming. It's so much, a lot more webinars, the body of knowledge, online campus, you can post questions. But there's also one-day fundamentals course, for example. And if you want to get certified, then there is the BRMP and the CBRM with the help of APMG. So there's many ways for you to get exposed to what they have to offer. They also have a few books you can buy. I think they're $100 roughly. So again, we could use a half hour I'm just offered to get you up to speed on that one. So we'll be happy to follow up on that.
Mart, thank you very much. I'm conscious of the time, so I want to stick to the half an hour that we said that we'd do, because these are supposed to be the nice short webinars. You've absolutely packed it full of information once again, and your knowledge and expertise is just incredible. So thank you very much. And everybody saw that your generous offer to give the half an hour free as well. I will be following up with an email after this, so you will have the slides and you will have the recording. Thanks ever so much, everybody, for taking part and being a great audience from all over the globe. And hopefully we'll see you again soon. Thanks very much, Mark. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Estelle. Bye-bye.